welcome. Hi. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Excellent, excellent. I'm so glad to have you tonight. Just finished. I've read the first one in August. I finished the Gone for Good today, and it was so good.
Oh,
I'm just loving this series. Um,
thank you.
I don't want to give away any spoilers, so I always kind of have you tell us what you want about your series, the characters.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll try not to do spoilers either. I'm working on book 4 right now, so I forget like what people know and what they don't, but thank you. Yeah, so Cheddar Off Dead, the first book starts with Willa opening her cheese shop in Yarrow Glen, and so she's new there. She doesn't know anybody in town, so she wants to get to know some of the fellow business owners and her neighbors. And so she has a cheese making class after hours. And that's when a magazine critic comes in, and he's ridiculous, and he was supposed to be there earlier, and she was kind of relieved that he wasn't there because she had heard that he never gives a good review. And it turns out he has a vendetta against the people in the town because he grew up there. So anyway, he leaves saying he's going to give her an awful review, and then later she finds him with one of her cheese knives. And so she's, of course, the prime suspect. So we have her trying to save her name and her shop. And she investigates with her 2 employees. We have Archie, who is 19 years old, out of high school, and very energetic and fun. And then we have Mrs. Schultz, and she's smack dab in her 60s, and a widowed, retired high school drama teacher. And so the three of them and her next door neighbor Baz help to investigate. And then, of course, there's Roman across the street. He owns a meadery, and so he's flirty, but he's also a suspect. So she's got to weigh that as well. And so yeah, so that's how the first one starts, and those characters.
That's so. Are any of the characters based upon real people at all?
Um, No, not really. I had written a book, my first book that got me my agent was set in Connecticut where I live, and it was about a mom blogger, and my son was younger back then, and it was very much taken from a lot of people that I knew. And it was taken from a lot from me too, the main character. And so when I ended up writing this book and series, like I felt like those were characters. And even though that book never got published, I felt like they were still alive, they were still like there somewhere. And so like I couldn't take anything from them because it just felt like, they belong in Connecticut, and here I am in the Sonoma Valley. And so everybody is kind of, Archie has a few things like my son does. I have an 18-year-old son now, and so a few of the things that I put in there are kind of like him, but overall, not really.
Yeah. Um, did you? How did you decide to write about cheese? Which is like one of my favorite things in the world. Like you asked me the deserted island question in 3 foods. One of them's gonna be cheese, as long as it can be a variety. So
Right.
how did you land on cheese as the main theme?
Right. Well, with themes, you want to have a cozy theme that's cozy. So, cheese, also me love cheese. But it's also, it's comforting, it's communal. Like people, when you have people over, you go into somebody's house, you bring a plate of cheese, and so those are the things you kind of want in a cozy mystery. And also I find that people have like a real reaction to cheese, and most of that, I would say 99% is a positive. Like most people are like, cheese,
Yeah.
usually people don't have a so-so reaction toward cheese. It's usually very, very strong, and it's usually they love it. So when choosing a theme, you kind of have to go with what you think is going to draw people in, because with my book, it's the theme, and then of course the covers are, I'll just show you the cover for Cheddar Elf Dead. The covers are beautiful.
They are beautiful.
And this is the Gone for Gouda cover. And so they're either drawn by the theme, or if they see the cover. And so you want something that can be easily if you see this beside the title, even if you just saw the cover, you would know that it's a cheese theme. And also, I knew I wouldn't get sick of writing about cheese. So,
Speaking of that, I have to ask what your favorite kind of cheese is.
right, and that's like choosing a favorite child.
I won't tell. You can do that too.
So right, right. Well, I only have one, luckily. So I have to. I'm forced to choose him. But yeah, honestly, it depends what I'm eating and what I'm, doing it for. I've been trying different cheeses because of the research on the book. I don't eat every cheese that's in the book, but I have tried more. Before I started the Cheese Shop Mystery, I just had your usual, but still, they're actually, and I wish I had asked my sister-in-law when I was at her house a few months ago. She had this fantastic cheese, and I forgot to ask her what it was, and I'd never had it before, and that was like amazing. But overall, the cheese that I tend to go to is, I love goat cheese with fig jam on it, on a very thin plain cracker. Like, oh.
Yum.
And I also like that on like a thin crust pizza. That's a big thing for me. So I say that, but also for just a snacking cheese, like you want a little something, I go for a Swiss. I like a good Swiss. It's got to be a good Swiss though, because some Swiss doesn't taste like anything. So yeah. So, but for cooking and stuff like that, you always go with the cheddar. So I don't have anything. I mean, I have tried some good. Like I had what was it? I can't think of. It was like a cooked, I'm not saying it right, so it doesn't sound well. It was like a cooked onion Gouda one time with something else in it that was very good. And yeah, so I have had other, but again, like every time I eat a good cheese, I'm like, oh wow, but like to pick a favorite, it's my mood, it's what I'm eating it with, it's all of that.
Gotcha. That makes complete sense to me. I'm with you. Nicole says, hi, Tiffany. Hi, Korina.
Oh, hi, Nicole. Books and Beauty. How nice.
Hannah said, hi, Tiffany. Hi,
Hi, Buggy. I know her from, yes, Buggy Reads.
She has a great YouTube channel too, and I know she just read your book and loved it.
Yes.
I saw her put up on Facebook, Korina Moss coming. I was like, oh, it's the best gift in the world. I'm like, oh, like you fangirl for a minute.
Thanks, Buggy. Oh, Cajun Peach. Hi.
He said, hello. Wow, book 4 already.
I know. So book one has been out since last March. Book 2, Gone for Gouda, is coming out on Tuesday. And you can pre-order it now. It's out in paperback, e-reader, audio book, Audible. Actually, the Audible version, if you don't have Audible yet, they're having a free trial. So you can get Gone for Gouda for free. And yes, and it's very good. Anyway, so yes, and then book 3 is Curds of Prey, and that will come out. I don't have the actual
title.
I know. I have the cover of it. I don't have the actual book, but oh, hold on. Here we go. I don't know if you can see it well. It's hard to see it there, but
it's brighter. It's like, ooh, I like it.
Yeah. It's Yeah, it's nice. It takes, it's all about a wedding shower and a wedding. So yeah, so that comes out in March, and then I'm writing book 4. So it's like, because everything has to go through Macmillan, which is St. Martin's. It's a big publishing house. They're done well ahead of time. So I'm always writing a couple of books ahead by the time the books come out.
So, how long are you? Well, first, are you a outliner or are you a pantser? Or I've created a new term that I like to call sagging pants, where you create an outline, but you just kind of also go with the flow. I feel like that would be saggy pants, and I don't know.
I love that. Oh my gosh, I love that. I am I am I'm an outliner, for sure, and I work on the outline quite a bit, and I usually end up, changing the outline before I get started. However, I'm a little of the sagging pantser also because, of course, when I write my first draft, I do it. I wouldn't say quickly, but I do it where some people write first drafts where they sound really good. They take most of their time in writing. I write a first draft fairly quickly because I just want to know that the story holds together. And so if um, the story doesn't, then I give myself the freedom, obviously, to change it, after the outline. But I try to I've changed an ending a couple of times now, because, it sounds good in the outline. And no matter how detailed I get that outline, when I actually go from scene to scene, chapter to chapter, get to the end of the first draft, if it's not like rolling to the end, like all exciting, then I'm like, okay, that's not working. So yeah, so I leave myself room to open, but I'm definitely an outliner. And I
Yeah.
think with mysteries, for me anyway, I can't imagine not, because there's so much of a puzzle where you put in the red hair. Everything has to happen at a certain time for a certain reason. And I can't imagine just being able to go with it. Like, that would be that, as it is with my outline, with my index cards. I have so many things, and still I get 3/4 of the way into a book and I'm like, okay, what's happening? What did I say? I mean, and if I didn't have all of that stuff already written down, forget it. I would pack it in.
Yeah.
Hi, Hearts and Whodunits. Oh, how nice. Thank
Yes, and
you.
Anita has, I think that's the best name. She has a blog called Hearts and Whodunit. So it's romance and mystery.
Oh,
I
how
think that's what it
fun.
is. I think
Oh,
that's
it's a blog? Okay, I'm gonna have to look up that. Oh, good.
Laura said, "Hi Tiffany, hi Karina."
Hi, now Laura. Hi, Laura. Laura did that wonderful illustration. I don't know if you saw it on my Instagram and my Facebook page with the little mouse
Oh, I
on the
did
front
see it.
pagoda. Yes, she's the
Yes.
one who did that for me. It was
Laura, that
so
was amazing.
nice.
That was really cute. I didn't know that that's the same person, but I saw it. It was great.
Yes, so sweet.
It was
Loved it.
amazing. Hi Bev.
Hi, the cozy. I love all of these. Hi,
Polly
Polly.
says hello. Hi Polly.
Thanks for coming, everybody.
Hi
Team
Mel.
Cheese, Team Cheese. Thank you, Melmac. My
Mel.
my newsletter subscribers, we call ourselves Team Cheese, and so I put that on most of my posts and things, but especially for when it's something with the subscribers. That's who
That's
we are.
awesome. Melmac just got back from what I hope is an amazing trip to like winery in New York, and yes,
Oh, it's
he
the
just
perfect time to be there. I'm from
I
New York, and so it's upstate New York. Beautiful, beautiful time to be there.
Anita said, "I love cheese." Me too, Anita. We're on. Yes, yes,
We're all
yes.
on the same page there.
He said, "Totally true." The
Hmm.
covers are great. I really love the cover on the first one because I feel like the way it's described, looking like a French cheese store or inspired by that, it just
Yes.
like the dark wood. I love.
Right. Right. Yes. Actually, when my editor asked for my input before the covers came out, and a lot of the covers nowadays of cozies are kind of more simple. Like they have one thing that's kind of what they were trending toward, especially when this started. I got the contract in 2020, so I would say this was like early 2021. And I'm old school, where I just like the details. I love to look at a cover and notice all the details about it and have it really bring me into the whole thing. And especially because the cheese shop was French inspired and all of that, I wanted it to have those details. So I, expressed that to her, but that was it. And then, a few months later, she comes back with this, and I was like, oh my God. And I actually changed some of my details in the book to match the cover, because the cover was so gorgeous. I was like, okay, I didn't even think of all those great things. So that's why we did it that way. It's just I do love it.
Do you have control of the titles? Do you give suggestions and then they decide?
I give
total, like,
we kind of do it together. The first one, actually, my editor Maddie, she's a cheese pun queen. If I had her skills, every email that we go back and forth, she has some kind of pun. Goodbye, she always says, and she's too much. She's really fantastic. And so the first one, I think we had already decided on Cheddar Off Dead, or maybe I don't even really remember how it came about. I think she had a few, and then I had decided that Cheddar was going to kind of play a part in the book, as you know. And so we decided on Cheddar Off Dead, and then we wanted all the books to kind of look similar. And so they kind of all had to be short titles. And so the next one I was going to do Up to No Gouda, but Linda Riley took that. She had that first. She didn't take it from me. She had it first, because she does a grilled cheese shop mystery, which are fantastic. And so I ended up doing Gone for Gouda, because it's got some Gouda stuff in here. And then the third one, Curds of Prey. I couldn't think of one. I think that was Maddie who did that one, because I couldn't think of one. And then the fourth one, I'm not gonna say yet because it's not official, but that was definitely Maddie, because I couldn't come up with one. It had to do with the main cheese is blue cheese in the fourth one, so I couldn't come up with one. So she did, and I love it. And I was just like, you rock. You are the cheese pun queen. So so yeah, I mean, she always asks for my input first, but I'm like, hey, I'm not stuck on anything. I would just want a good title. So we kind of work together on them.
That's awesome. You bring me to my next question. I was craving cheese when I was reading the book. I ran out of shredded cheese after I finished the book.
I hear that a lot, that I'm responsible for a lot of people eating a lot of cheese.
Favorite cheese?
Thank you. It is hard. Everybody asks me, and it's hard. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Oh, I hope you like it.
That's awesome.
I really do.
I agree. Cheese is like wine. It depends on what you're eating,
what your mood is, yeah.
I love all kinds. Me too.
Well, and that's my problem too. It's like and honestly, I don't think, and I've tried some different ones. Please don't ask me which ones, because my memory, I'm old. But I have tried some different cheeses, and honestly, I haven't come across ones that I don't like. The older I get, the more I like stronger flavors. So I think cheeses that I used to would not like when I was younger, because they're too strong, I kind of gravitate towards now. I actually like the stronger cheeses now.
The covers are beautiful. The Curds of Prey is my favorite too, Mel.
Thank you. Great. I like them all,
goat cheese is the best. Yes. I had a goat cheese with like blueberry sauce mixed into it once. It was delicious.
I know. Anything like a little sweet with it. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Smoked Gouda. Well, yeah, Gone for Gouda.
Yeah, there's a beer cheese recipe that in the book that I'm like, okay, I'm going to make.
Yes.
I really just like goat cheese too creamy for me. Yeah, I'm with you. I think sometimes the stronger flavors. I don't know if I was against them when I was younger so much, but like I noticed like I like blue cheese, and I like some of the ones that
Mhm,
are,
mhm. I used to not like goat cheese when I first tried it, and then I started liking it when it was cooked, like I had it on, like I said, a pizza one time, a thin crust
mm,
pizza, and then I tried it without, a friend of mine had it with the fig, and then I was in love with it. So, it
yeah.
might be the type also, but also sometimes, anything that you have, any cheese that's just
I had a
cold
pizza
is
that was kind of like you described it. It had prosciutto, goat cheese,
mm,
and pears and walnuts on it.
oh,
Oh my,
wow. That sounds great.
really?
Oh,
Yes,
thank you,
that's
book
awesome, book
fan.
fan. Well, I love the cover of book 3. Fried cheese
Thank
curds are amazing. You
mhm,
are
and
absolutely.
that's funny that, yeah, so, yes, the Curds of Prey has, cheese curds, of course, in it. I
Hi,
know,
Priscilla.
very funny.
Laura said, "Any plans for a Christmas holiday themed book?"
Well, I would love it because I love Christmas. I love Christmas themed books myself. I love to read Christmas cozies. Right now, I don't. I'm hoping for some reason, when you start out as a writer, because I'm traditionally published, publishers don't want you to do themes when you're new. Maybe it's too much of a like a focused
Mm,
audience. And so even my third one takes place around Valentine's Day, and I was you kind of have to give a little summary to your editor or your publisher about it. And so I did, and she's like, "Oh, don't mention Valentine's Day too often." It's like, oh, okay, So I don't know why, but I know there are a lot of other people, Maddie Day, Edith Maxwell just has a Christmas new one out with her Cape Cod Mysteries, I think. So I
yep.
think you have to go along. So if I get 3 more books after the 6, I'm gonna ask for if I can do a Christmas one because I really do want to, and hopefully I'll be far enough along if I'm, lucky enough to do that where they'll say yes.
I love holiday themed cozies too, but even like, so you were approved for 6 books, which I've never heard. I mean, that is an amazing run, like from the
Oh,
start, right? I mean, most authors I've talked to have said, you know, 2 is the usual, 3 is like the like, yes, so I'm so excited for you. That's
thank
amazing.
you. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I was, shocked as well. Yeah, my first contract was for 3 books, and then Cheddar Off Dead had only been out a few months, and so it's really, because of you guys, pre-ordering it, buying it, talking about it on here, posting, pictures saying you read it or you're going to read it, sending me your pictures, like all of that, writing the reviews, all of that matters, that they take all of that into consideration. And because of you guys, um, I got 3 more, but which I wasn't, my agent even said, because you have to give little summaries to them and then they'll decide whatever. And so she said, give me 2 or 3 because usually you get, if you're lucky, you'll get 1 more, maybe 2 more, usually not 3 more. And I thought to myself, well, no, I want 3 more. And so I gave, 3 summaries for the next 3 books. And then they came back with a contract. So I'm thrilled about it because I really love being able to grow the relationships, and keep on with the characters in the town. And that's why I was excited in the first place to write a series, not just 1 book, but why I wanted to
Mhm.
write a series. And so to know like that's going to happen, that kind of changed how I was working on the 3rd book when I got the contract. So it kind of changed how I was doing it because I was going to wrap it up a little bit just in case. And so I was happy to continue that, and knowing that I'm gonna be able to keep going. So I really appreciate that. Keep the pictures and the reviews going, because really, if you like a series, your review and your showing it on your social media and all of that, it really does matter, and you can help the series continue on. And so I'm thrilled about it, and I hope everybody really continues to like it.
That is, I mean, congratulations. That's
Thank
amazing.
you. Thanks.
Hi, Storm. It's good to see you.
Oh,
Storm
hi,
has an amazing
Storm.
YouTube channel too.
Yes, I watch Storm as well. Yes, and I see her on yours a lot too.
I just had dinner and now I'm craving cheese.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter. You have your night cheese. It's fine.
I had chicken. Well, cheese on chicken is,
And chicken's boring. Cheese is fun.
I love all kinds of cheese. Since you like Swiss, have you ever had, I'm going to say this
I
wrong, Burgisburg baby Swiss from Ohio Amish country?
I
It's
have not. I
holy
have
moly, it
not.
sounds
Ohio
delicious.
Amish country. Gugas. Okay, I'm gonna try that. Soule's.
That sounds
Um,
amazing, Sue.
that does sound amazing. That does sound amazing. And I might put that in one of my books too, because I like to put like different interesting types of cheeses in the books too. So very interesting. Thank you for telling me. I have not, and especially since it's the best.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Hey, Jessica.
Hi.
Hi, Patricia. She asked about your titles too.
Oh, thank you.
You know, we have some people say I think it depends on the publishing house, maybe, because
It does. It
say,
does. It depends on the publishing house. Do I choose the editors? No, my
oh,
editor was uh, she chose me. You don't choose the editor; they choose you. They're the ones. So yeah.
she said, "What else do you use for writing your stories other than index cards?"
So, what I first do is write on a spiral bound notebook. I have a lot of notebooks. I love collecting notebooks regardless. So I do use them. I usually have like one per book. And so in order to like start thinking about a story, I have to write freehand. I can't type, or else I don't know. I'm kind of like locked up. So I use that first, and then when it's starting to come together, it starts to get crazy because I've got so many things crossed out and I'm doing this and all. So then I'm like, okay, let me put it on cards so that I can move things around a little easier, And then once I have that done, then I type in the chapter to chapter in my computer to kind of flesh it out a little bit more. And then by then, that's like the third time I've come around to whatever I'm going to write. And then, I kind of go back and forth with all three of them before I start my first draft. And then my draft and the revisions, of course, are on my computer.
Wow. I'm not organized enough for all that.
Oh, it's a disorganized organization, believe me. Yeah, it's if anybody else saw it, they'd be like, and I've seen other people's outlines that are like outlines that you learned in school how to do. I like no, my outline is like just me scribbling for 50 pages. Like that's my outline, and then of course the index cards help, but still. Never.
My office at work, I call it organized chaos.
Yes,
It was like,
exactly.
your office is, and I was like, it's organized chaos.
You know what's there. You know what's
Yeah.
around. That's all that matters, right?
Hi, Kimberly.
Yo.
Hi. So actually, hi, swapping to Cozy account. Gotcha.
Cozy reads, yeah.
Oh, nice. Momac said she just got back from the overnight trip to the Finger Lakes. They have a cheese trail in addition to the wine trails. Now,
I just looked that up about a month or so ago. I remember reading about that. Yes, and thinking that my sister and I should try that because she lives in New York. So.
Oh, nice. Yes, I'm a proponent of traditional cozy covers. Yeah. I like them all, but I agree. I like the more detailed, and especially we have a Killing Time with Cozy's Discord, and then on Saturdays for the lives for the Killing Time with Cozy's lives twice a month we do scavenger hunt picks, and we have a wheel that kind of like decides for us. We put a bunch of themes in, and one time we got Skull on the cover, and you had to find. And so now every single book since then that I pick up, I always look for the skull
for
on the
the
cover.
Skull.
Yep.
There's always one. Yep.
It's like an Easter egg now. I'm like,
how fun.
The covers make you keep looking, like a search and seek. Yeah. Absolutely. Exactly. I do too, Priscilla.
Thank you, Priscilla.
They're just so much richer than the flat color blocked illustrations that that took over YA and romance. Gotcha. As long as the title is punny up, Sue, I am 100% with you.
Me too.
The
I love
cheesier, the better.
pun titles. Yeah, yeah. Very good. Excellent, excellent.
So you've mentioned a couple times, I have to ask, what kind of cozies do you like to read?
Mm. Well, right now I've been reading. I have a lot of author friends who write cozy, so I've been reading, theirs. But normally, if I'm going to pick a cozy, I like British cozies, like in a castle in Britain or maybe cottage or something. I used to love MC Beaton's Agatha Raisin because that was in the Cotswolds. And so I love that kind of thing. Of course, culinary cozies. You can't go wrong with that. And, really, I'm trying to think of what of the series that I read like most of. I think just well, they're also they're also basic, small cozy town, but I don't have one. The one thing I don't go for, even though people write them very well, is I don't like cozies in cities. Even if there's a small neighborhood, I don't know. It just needs to be like a little town. I don't know why. And I don't like too trendy and young, I guess, because I'm older, with a lot of internet or computer stuff involved and all of that. It's also not something I'm, personally as a reader into. But I like that there are writers writing that, because hopefully that's making younger readers start, find cozies, and that's always a good thing. But yeah, so that's but pretty much any cozy that's recommended, and I don't like paranormal. I like your classic, you know,
I'm
very classic.
we're a lot of and I like that they're trying to bring in younger readers with what you're talking about with some of the,
Sure.
but I'm very traditional, even when people are getting a little more lax with maybe language or sex on the page. I mean, I read romance and I don't feel like I'm a prude, but like when I pick up a cozy, I don't want that. I want just what's supposed to be, in my mind.
Right. That's the expectation, and that's
Right.
what I want to give, because that's how I feel exactly too. Well, you have an expectation for a cozy, and that's what you want. And that's also why, especially when COVID came out, people were asking around, if we as writers were going to kind of have that into our books. And I said, no, that's for me. I know some have been writing it in or wrote it in like in the past, because it's kind of part of our, life now. And I mean, I don't know, maybe at some point when it becomes so much, if people are still wearing masks in 10 years, it'd be weird for me not to mention something. But I just like, when you read a cozy, you just want to leave everything, all the
Absolutely.
politics or any of the nonsense that's going on in the world, and you want to go into your perfect little town where there's, murder, but it's like
But it's
it's
done nicely and off page.
it's a nice murder. That's what I always tell my son when he's like, "Why would you write about murder?" I'm like, "It's a nice murder, though. You don't understand. Mommy writes about nice murders." But but no, it's like it's something. I think we as readers like to read cozies because, number one, we want to go someplace where we want to be, where we want to, mentally get lost in. And then, the murder is about the puzzle. And so that we, of course, always still want something that's, interesting to us, that keeps us on our toes, but also it's like a solvable thing. And it's always, somebody who dies is not the, nicest person, and you don't get to know them that much. It's not like you're like, oh my God, they died. So it's, it's nice, and that's what you want. That's what I want. I mean, I've been a cozy reader since probably 1991, I think, was when I read my first cozy. So like, I
What
know
was your first cozy?
I read, I don't, she's not considered a cozy now in the true sense, but I read Sue Grafton. I read B is for Burglar, was my first one. I picked it up on my honeymoon at the airport and loved it, and then went back and read whatever she had out there, and then read, Diane Mott Davidson and Joanna
Mm,
Fluke and Rita
yep.
Mae Brown and then MC Bean, and then I'm Nancy Picard. I mean, I read a ton of back then, and like, just went to my library every week and just kept reading whatever was out. And I don't even think they were called cozies back then.
Yeah.
At first they had the little mystery symbol on them, so I could always find them, and that's why I stuck with the series, because they weren't so obvious as they are now. Like, now it's like cozies and people have lists and helpful to find them. But back then, they didn't. So I would just go and I would stick, and then I would be like, oh, okay, no more in that series yet. And then I'd go to the next one. But
Same.
yeah,
Same. Yeah, the grilled cheese is a great
yes.
series too. I just read the first one. I really enjoyed it.
Hmm.
Yeah, me too.
Mm.
Storm said, haven't got your books yet, but can't wait to do
Oh,
so. That's
thank you.
awesome. Do not forget the emulsifier and beer cheese.
Oh, I wrote about, what did I write about? It was a German beer cheese. I don't think it had that.
Mm. It sounded delicious. Hi, Ashley. She said Cheddar Off Dead was the first cozy, and I can't wait to read the second one.
Oh, thank
The
you so
first
much,
cozy, that's
Ashley.
awesome.
Wow. The first cozy that you've read? That's so exciting.
That is really cool.
Thank you.
I really
Yes.
like any cheese. I agree. Sharp cheddar.
Can't go wrong.
Husband and tried it off a Facebook video once. We had a pot of mozzarella floating in hot Modelo.
Oh.
Cornstarch.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
gotcha.
bad. Okay. Yeah. So
Didn't
it's
realize
gotta.
they didn't want you to kick off on a holiday. Yeah, that's interesting.
I know things that you really don't think about with the traditional publishers. We have a lot, as far as the actual book goes. It's your book. You have the say at when it's written, but as you're making decisions and whatever, I mean, obviously you want to do what's best for getting an audience in the first place. So
Yeah. This kind of goes along with that. Good question, Patricia. She said, how many agents did you query before you found the one you're using now?
that's a good question. Gosh, it's hard to say. I um was trying to get published for a very long time. I never did it like 100%. I was married and had a young child, and so it was kind of my hobby kind of thing. So I was, querying. It was before I started writing cozies. Actually, I was writing some different kinds of books. For the book, I ended up getting my agent from 25, 35, something like that. I'd have to go back and look. But yeah, it was quite a few. It was a lot. It was a lot. And yeah, and then I ended up going on Twitter, and they were having a pitch party where you pitch your book in a sentence, and agents look through and see which ones they like. And I got a few agents who were interested. And then I went to a Savvy Authors website, and they were also having a pitch party, but they had a bulk of agents who were participating. And so if ones fit your genre, then you pitch to them in one or two sentences. And I did that. And so I ended up getting, I think I ended up getting like 6 agents who wanted me to send them the full manuscript from my pitch. And then out of that, I ended up getting 3 agents who offered to represent me. And then from that, I picked who she ended up being my dream agent. I didn't think she was the one who I was like waiting for. And I thought for sure that she would never. And so, as soon as
Wow.
she
That's
said yes, I was like, yes, okay, yes, you.
Publishers need to realize cozy readers love a holiday theme. I
I know.
agree.
I agree too. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I think that would draw readers in, frankly, but it's funny.
Yeah.
They think.
Kelly, this is a great idea. I made a gift basket for a friend, included an autographed book of Cheddar Off Dead some different cheeses, a bottle of wine, and a candle. They loved it. What the books are a great gift too. That sounds like an amazing basket. I love
Well,
it.
thank you, Kelly Brunetti. Actually, Kelly's my sister. I have to say.
I
Hi,
love that
Kelly.
idea.
But yes, it
Hi.
is such a nice idea. She's always been such a great support. And so
Oh,
that's so sweet.
yes, I would love a Christmas and or holiday themed cozy in the
Yeah.
series. I'm a seasonal reader. Yes,
Halloween. Yeah.
the two
So
holidays in particular
Gone
are so
for
special.
Gouda isn't Halloween necessarily, but it is very autumnal, as you can see the pretty
Hmm.
leaves. It's got a fall festival in it. It's got a scarecrow contest. They're decorating floats for the Harvest Fair parade, and so it's got all that. And like Tiffany said, it's got beer cheese and soup and all the cozy autumn, kind of things. And then at the end, they go to the festival, so that's more Halloweeny there. So it is a little bit of a theme. If you like a holiday theme, the new one coming out on Tuesday is got a lot of that in it.
I loved it. I love the floats and
Thanks.
yes, they do. I wish they saw actual feedback from us more often.
I wish they did too, because it's funny that I'm on a lot of the cozy Facebook groups and stuff. And, I mean, it's hard to know like what percentage of people are actually on there. I know it's only a small percent, but, I feel like as with anything, almost like movie producers and everything, it's like, what they see and know is not they're not creating it, so they don't actually, they only see the end numbers, but how do you know
Mhm.
what people really want, until unless you talk to them and get their input and all of that. So I completely agree, and like I said, I've been a cozy reader forever, and I feel like I know.
Yeah, exactly. Nita, good question. How much does library copies help your contract renewals?
Very much too, because I love my books in libraries. Number one, because I'm such a library user and always have been,
Me
and so just seeing my book in a library, that was actually more. I got a little more weepy even than seeing it at the Barnes and Noble. Honestly, to see it in my library was like, oh my God. But it does help also because people take it out at the libraries and they pass it around, and it's still everybody hears about it. Everybody's seeing it. People might, buy the series or just, reading it and whatever. And then of course the libraries who buy the copies, that helps too. So it's just all about interest.
Yeah.
So if your library doesn't have it, ask them to get it, because a lot of times they just will. They're like, oh yeah, it's like not a, um, they have their list, but a lot of times they have, an allotted sum, and if people ask for a certain book, they'll go ahead and carry it. And it's only a paperback, so it's not going to cost them that much.
Um, so Willa is our main character, and she's a really level-headed sleuth to me, which I appreciate because sometimes one of my things that frustrate me in cozies is, I mean, I know they're going to make a slip up, but when it's like, why are you running into a building with a murderer who's already holding the gun at you, and you're like, hey,
Right, right.
that is a little so. But do you think that you would make a good sleuth? You write a great sleuth. Do you think you would make a good sleuth?
I think might be too much of a scaredy cat to be too good of a sleuth. Like, I think, if I'm staying home, I could puzzle it out because I love, that kind of part of it. But like, and to talk to people who might be suspects that are like, okay.
Yeah, I'm like, there are people that do that.
Exactly, exactly. So I don't think I have what it takes to be that. But I appreciate you saying that about Willa. I know in the first one she does, like, she's not the best at talking to people and being smooth and whatever, but I purposely wrote her that way, and hopefully not in a way that annoys people, because like she's never done this
Yeah.
before. Like, you're not going to go out of the box, but she does get better along the books. Like in the second book, I think she does it a little better. And also she works with Detective Heath, who we haven't talked about him yet. Hubba hubba. So she works with him a little bit better. The first one, she doesn't know him. He doesn't know her. She doesn't know if she can trust him. Her life is on the line. And so she's going to, figure it out herself. But the second one, even though, we have to save Archie, as one of my readers said, we have to save him at all costs. So, Archie is the one in Gone for Good that is a suspect, and so she has to get involved for that. But she does share her information a little bit more with Heath in that in the second one, actually a lot more. She always tells him things and stuff, and then some of the things that happen, she just happens to be in and isn't quite her fault that people come to her. So so I do think she progresses in her investigative skills.
Yeah, I think she's a really well-written character.
Thank you.
I think No Harm From No Foul was good, and they let her do Halloween 1 on book 2. Yeah, I think maybe it depends on the publisher.
Well, because also has other series. Linda Riley's a long-standing author. She's got a lot of books out.
Too. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Nancy.
Also, it's been a while since I read Shut Her Off Dead, but if I remember correctly, you had an almost definitely platonic male friend for the protagonist. Yes, Baz.
Thank you. Thank you for appreciating that and saying that. Yes, Baz is her platonic friend. He will always, and this is not a spoiler, he will always be her platonic friend. I thought it was very important to have people of the opposite gender just be friends with no sexual chemistry, no will they, won't they. Because it's just never shown, or very rarely shown anyway. And I love their friendship chemistry, and they're very, they're bantering. And as the series progresses, it's more so because they get even more, close and best friendy. So yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it too. There's a part where it's almost like you see them as brother and sister, like he's giving her a noogie or something.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And he's
cute.
the only one who can joke with her the way others can't. Yeah. And totally. And that's the way he is. He's he'll whatever. And so I want people to read that and not read into it and wonder or whatever, because that's not happening. It's an important relationship, I think.
Yeah. Well, and it's nice to see that sometimes cozies tend to, and not just cozies, I shouldn't even just say that, just in general, sometimes the main character in a book, everybody is attracted to them, or they see everybody as the hottest man alive. I'm like, I lived in a town growing up with 3,000 people, and believe me,
not everybody, right?
Was
right? Exactly.
So it's just nice to kind of see that it was an award. Oh, she's talking about the Amish cheese. I'm sold on this Amish cheese.
I'm sold on it, so I am.
Knowing there will be 6 books in this series before the second book is really, I know that's really amazing. Hey, Lee. Lee is another person who has an amazing channel called Dark Roots Creations. Oh, she's eating grilled cheese.
Oh, perfect. I love that name, Dark Roots Creations.
Yeah, isn't that a great name? Anita wants to know what computer program you use.
Just Word. I don't use any of the special ones, number one, because I'm old and I don't know how, and I hate learning new things. But also, as far as computer stuff goes, but also because I just go by instincts. Like I said, I've been reading Cozies since the 90s. So, a lot of them have which act you're supposed to be in, and it's just too much. And all the grammar stuff and all of that. I mean, I try to do my best, but I have a copy editor too. And as far as that goes, so yeah, I just like to be able to, to write and not have any computer program telling me what's right and wrong.
Yeah, I'm a complete old school too. And I always make I work with a young guy at work, and I have to ask him questions about Excel all day long. And he said to me, this has been a while back, but he looked at me deadpan. He goes, they give classes for this.
I know. Oh, Excel. That's another thing with my giveaways. I always have so many giveaways, and
Yeah.
I'm typing in all the names, and I'm like, I'm sure if I did this once in an Excel spreadsheet, I wouldn't have to keep doing it, but I don't want to figure out how to do it. So I'm just going to keep doing this until my list gets too long where I'm forced to.
Yeah. Organize my entire life is
I hear
organized.
you, Buggy. Yes.
The only food I cook well is grilled
Well,
cheese.
then you're set, Patricia.
Yeah.
You're
I
set.
mean, what more do you need?
Really. And there's a good grilled cheese, a jalapeno popper grilled cheese. I think it's in Gone for Gouda,
Mm,
that you might like. Little
yeah.
spicy.
Green Six said mine is just plain chaos. Chaos. It's funny. Nothing wrong with that, Patricia. Make versions of yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Agree. I hear. What was the last book you read?
I read Welcome Home to Murder, I hope, by Rosalie Spielman. I hope
Yeah,
that's
that's
right.
military, right?
Yes, yes. It takes place in Idaho. She's a former military. She comes back. The sense of place is so good in that one. It's really, it's a fantastic book. Look her up, Rosalie Spielman. Welcome Home to Murder.
Yeah, she also works on the Aloha Lagoon series.
Yes, she does. She has that. That's a series with several authors, but she's got like 3 books. I know she's got 2 books out and maybe a third one coming, or there's 3 out. I can't keep up with her. She writes a lot and she puts me to shame with my little books coming out. She's got a lot, but yeah, those are fun too. If you want like Hawaii, if you want
Mm.
Idaho and moose and that kind of thing, kind of hometown, or if you want like Hawaii and palm trees, then read the Aloha Lagoon ones.
I'm doing there's a challenge that I'm taking part in. It's a cozy road trip challenge where you try to hit all 50 states.
Mm.
And so I have her plugged in for my Idaho because there's not very many. So I was like,
No, right. It's
perfect. I was so
perfect.
excited to see that.
It's perfect, right.
Me too. I love my small town
Too.
cozies.
Yes.
So I have to ask, knock on wood, but if you were murdered, sorry,
Yeah.
what detective would you want solving your case? TV, book detective?
Oh, wow.
What detective would you want on your case?
Oh, wow. I think, well, I might have to go with the classic and decide between Poirot and Marple. Um, Although, yeah, I mean, I guess I would have to say Poirot because he sees every little detail and always, no matter how difficult it is, because it's always difficult, we never figure it out. He can. So I guess I'd
Yeah,
have to go with him.
good one. I'm a small town cozy too. Absolutely. And he said, I also prefer cozies to stay like traditional. I don't like politics in them or
Mm,
anything good. I 100%
same.
agree. And I'm not against any of those things. It's just when I pick
Right.
up a cozy, I expect it to not have those things. I pick them up
Right.
to escape from those things usually.
Exactly. And since I spend, months and months writing one, I don't want to write about it either. So I enjoy that as well to not do that.
I actually like politics in them, but I much prefer justice to be done, at least in the world of the book by the end of it. For sure, I want it wrapped up. Yeah,
The thing is
agreed.
that when you, at least for me, and maybe I'm just not as, experienced of a writer, but it just, I feel like if I try to start something, it might outweigh what the rest of what I'm trying to do, and I don't want the whole book to be about that. And I find it so hard to just sprinkle in things that are going on in today's world because that's not doing them justice. That's not doing it right. And so, some writers can do that well. I know some do. But I haven't found a way to do it yet. So I just leave it out entirely.
Oh, it's no problem. It's always that way. Chats they came up after the topic. No, I love your involvement, Kim. I love
Hmm.
everybody participating.
Absolutely.
They are the best gifts. That makes me feel good. That library, me too. I get almost all of my books from different library services.
Absolutely, and don't ever feel bad about that. I love the library, I use it myself, and I love that my books are in the library, so it's definitely, a great thing for authors and publishers.
I put both of the cheese shops on hold.
Oh,
That's awesome.
yay!
Nice. Oh, good.
Yes, yes.
Same Sue enables me to read so much more extensively than I could if
Oh,
it
absolutely,
100% Kim. Yeah.
absolutely. Mhm. Oh,
I really like
thanks.
Baz too.
I love him too. I love him too.
Patricia said, "How many suspects do you normally write into your cozies?"
I try to put at least 5. Let's see, this one I'm writing now. Yeah, it's usually around 5 is the magic number for me, because you don't want too many, and then you're chasing all these different things and it's hard to keep track. But too few makes it difficult. And in fact, my first draft of Cheddar Off Dead had one less suspect, and my editor said, "I think you need another suspect," and I was already done writing the whole book, so I was like, "Oh, okay." So I had to do a lot of rewriting on that, but it really did help. So yeah, so I try to keep it around 5.
Yeah. And I like when I think that 5 is a good number. I think, like, it makes it too obvious if there's less. But the other thing that I don't want is like somebody mentioned on page 8 and never again is the murder. You're like, I've read books and I've
Oh,
enjoyed them, don't get me wrong, but
yeah.
I'm like, who the heck is Debbie? Like, I'm like, I don't even
Exactly. And yeah, I mean, you have to care about the murderer too, in a way. Not that they have to be even a nice person or whatever,
know.
but you need to care that it's them. You want to be like, oh, not what, like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, like, so what, so yeah, yeah, I like it to be so few, where whatever the suspects are, you've really gotten to know them, and so when you finally reveal, you might feel some type of way about it.
Totally agree. I have to ask this. I ask everybody, and I feel like it's important to have this prepared. So I'm
Okay.
doing you a favor.
Okay.
If Hallmark calls you
Uh,
and says, we want to make Curds and Whey into a series,
uh-huh.
who would you want to play your main characters? I cannot figure out except for Mrs. Schultz, and I still think she might be a little too old, but that's the person I have in mind. That
Okay. Oh gosh. So my main character is a combination in my head, and I don't know about the ages, but of and I can't remember her name, the woman who played Snow White on the updated version of Once Upon a Time on ABC,
Oh,
with
okay.
the short hair. I can't remember her name. And then also, she's a combination of her and Zoe Deschanel. So the two of them.
I don't know
Uh,
who the first person is, but I'll look her up. But
I need to look
Zoe
her up.
Deschanel, I know her.
And because I would know her name.
Yeah,
So that's for sure for her. Oh gosh, the other ones. Who were you thinking for Mrs. Schultz?
I think they're too old, but I don't know why I have this in my head, but I see Diane Keaton.
Oh my gosh, she would be great. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
I just
I
see
know,
her on
that's
the
the
bike, like
right, right. And
I don't
being
know.
like, so, oh, fabulous. Oh, that's a fabulous one. Yeah. Oh gosh, I don't, it would take me a while to think about. I mean, because in my head, I don't usually have, sometimes for an idea of looks, I kind of have an idea, but I don't want to go with somebody specific. So I don't
Yeah.
have like actors or whatever in my head. But believe you me, if Hallmark came, I'm ready,
Okay.
and I certainly would be ready to, plug
Do,
in people.
what about? Well, I do have to ask about like the detective and Roman. Who do you think that they
Oh
would
gosh.
look like?
Well, the detective, I mean, just whatever best looking guy you can think of. He's really good. Like
Yeah.
I don't have the guy in my head is not actually, I think he was from India or something. but he's not an actor here. So, so I don't know. Oh my gosh, this is hard.
It is
Because
hard,
because
but
there's so many like good actors already on Hallmark too that are
true.
good looking that you
That's
can
true
just
too.
pluck from. Also,
Yeah. I just feel like, I know it's hard, but if you're prepared, then when they call, you're like, you know what?
I
Zoe.
know, and I appreciate that. Yes, I know. I got to start, and that's a really good question too. Oh my gosh.
My library is very cozy challenged, but they do have Cheddar off it, so
Ooh,
hopefully they'll keep stocking this
I
series.
hope so.
Like that.
Thanks.
Nice.
Yeah, make sure they do. Let them know. Wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, I would go with Pro or Monk.
Oh, Monk. Oh, I love Monk.
I do
Although
like Monk,
I,
but
I don't think, yeah, but he's not as good as Poirot. But yeah, I do like him.
Ashley said she
That's
picked
fun.
Monk too. I think I'd pick Columbo. Only
I was gonna say Columbo.
the thing about Columbo is he was always so like bumbling, and what I loved was like everybody thought they were really fooling him. They're like, he's kind of slow, and he
Right.
always got him in the end. He knew
Always.
exactly what was
Always.
going on.
Yes.
One more
Yes.
thing, and I'm like,
What? Yes.
I
That's
just
so
love
funny.
him. Yeah, regarding the politics, that's a very valid stance. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Do you have a special place you like to write? Any place that inspires you more? Good
Good
question.
question, Laura. Actually, I liked, which is not good, is I like to write outside of my house usually. And so, I mean, of course, if I had my druthers, it would always be, there'd be water or something there. I mean, I
Mm.
have gone on trips, or sometimes I'll go away for a couple days with beautiful, someplace with water, but I can't do that often. I live out in kind of farm country in Connecticut, and so I have a lot of trees, and I have a nice deck in the back, but I don't know. I find I am more productive if I get out of the house. So funny enough, most of the time in good weather, whether it's summer nice weather, especially this time of year when it can be chilly in the house, but the sun is out and it's nice, I actually go to my car and I drive it anywhere to like a parking lot that's not busy, and I write there, and it doesn't really matter the view.
Oh.
I don't know. I like being out. I actually sit in my passenger seat in my car, and I think just because that's what I'm doing. Like when I'm home, there's other things that I can be doing, and it always kind of gets in the way. And so when I find like, oh, I just can't, I just get out of the house and I'm in my car, and it works for me. But in the winter, I like to write. I have a little fireplace, so I
Oh,
like to write by my fireplace. And also, right now, I'm in an office it's like a third floor loft kind of thing, and it's cozy in here. So in the cooler months, it's also nice to be up here because it's cozy to write it cozy.
People are saying Jennifer Goodwin.
Yes, thank you, Buggy. Jennifer Goodwin. Yes,
Everybody says
I love her.
China.
She's so cute. Thank you.
Laura said Christopher Polaha. I don't know.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
Number
Thank you,
101.
Laura. I do. Yes.
I would have Sherlock Holmes, but Benedict Cumberbatch, and only when it's him. Fair enough.
I
Fair
get you,
enough.
Jessica. I loved his Sherlock Holmes. I wish he was still doing that. God, that was a good series.
So before we wrap up, I want to know, to sign up for your newsletter, they can just go to KorinaMoss.com because I get it.
KorinaMossAuthor.com.
Author.com.
Yes, that's my website. And yes, just go down to the bottom. Enjoy the website if you want to. Go down to the bottom. And you can just subscribe. It's free. I do a monthly newsletter. I try to make it fun, lots of pictures, lots of fun stuff. One thing about cheese, usually one thing about a character. If I have any giveaways coming up, I'll let you know about them. And also, if you're a subscriber, you automatically always get an extra entry into whatever giveaway I have just for being part of Team Cheese. So the newsletter comes out like once a month. If I have like something special coming up or a special giveaway, or like there's a deal or something that you might not know about that might expire beforehand, before my month, monthly newsletter comes out, I sometimes will send, a special newsletter about it, but I don't bombard you. And so it's usually just once a month. So, and we have fun, I think.
Absolutely. And do you have any author takeovers coming up or any events coming up? So I know your book's coming out Tuesday, and it's
Right.
amazing, guys. I just finished it
Oh,
today. It was so good.
thank you. Thank you, Tiffany. So on release day, I have another giveaway, which I'll be giving away this book bag.
Oh,
Isn't it so
that's
cute?
book
Bookmark.
smart. I
Isn't
love
it
it.
so cute? It's really hard for me not to keep it, but I love you guys. So I'm giving that with a signed copy of Gone for Good
Nice.
also with it. And so if you are a subscriber, you'll get the newsletter on Tuesday that you'll hear all about that, and you'll find out how to get 4 entries. Or
Ooh.
you could just follow me on Facebook. And of course, I'll post on Facebook about it on Tuesday. So that's coming up. I just had a little interview on Book Frolic. It's a blog yesterday, I think, or the day before. I can't remember what day it is. And Willa actually is on Drew's book musings.
Yes, I love
Um,
it.
she's got a great blog on the day after comes out on Wednesday, and so she does a little Q&A on there, from Willa. And then my next takeover that I know about right now is at the holidays. Cozy Mystery Party is having a huge takeover,
Yes, I signed up
3
for it.
days with a ton of us authors. Each of us is doing, I think, just a half hour. But we've got a lot. Every 5 minutes, we'll have questions and answers. We'll have giveaways. And so join Cozy Mystery Party in order to hear about that and be involved in that. So for right now, I think that's all I've got going on. But check my website, because I try to always update the events that are going on. And then also, if you subscribe in my monthly newsletter, I'll always put like what's coming up, and so you'll know that too.
That's awesome. Book fan said, I just got the newsletter.
Yay! Thank you.
Hi,
Yay! Thank you,
Rosie.
Buggy, for
Sign. I
signing
just
up.
signed up for the newsletter and followed you
Thank
on
you,
Facebook.
Buggy. I love your blog too, Buggy.
Yes.
I mean, your booktube
Her
thing.
her
Yeah.
her booktube
Your
channel is
channel.
called Buggy Reads. Yes,
Mhm. It's
absolutely.
fun.
Jessica just signed up for the newsletter.
Thank you, Jessica.
And he
Yay!
said this was really wonderful. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah, it was
you.
it was great. Wow, book 3 is out in March.
Yeah, we're trying to keep every 6 months, and so the great thing about them giving me the another contract so soon was that we can hopefully keep to that schedule, because some cozies, they have you wait another year for the cozy, and then you can't even really like get into it. So you can binge the first 2 now if you haven't read them, but yeah, so next one's March. Hopefully the next one will be 6 months, and we'll keep to that schedule, I hope.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's not, I'm so impressed that people can write an entire book in 6 months. To me, I just think that that's incredible.
Yeah, it's not.
I mean,
I'm writing ahead of time. So actually, this one I'm writing right now, I'm writing in 5 months, because it got started late, and like I said, we're trying to keep to the schedule, and I got the contract for it. But the others I wrote in 8 months, so it wasn't 6, because I write them ahead of time. So
I mean, like, I think, like, thinking about writing a book, I would be like, I could do that in about 3 years. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just think that that's amazing that somebody can do that.
Well, early on when I was writing, that's how long it took. It took years and years, and then I finally got it down to 1 year and 10 months. And now, when you have a deadline, it's amazing, the incentive.
I just got your newsletter.
Thank you.
Kim said, thanks again to both of y'all. I'm glad you got to come. That's awesome, Kim.
I'm glad too. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it was great.
Yes, Tiffany's
signed up for the newsletter.
Yay, Storm. Thank you.
Sue said, thanks for a fun evening. Following on Facebook now as well.
Thank you,
Jessica.
Yay.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you guys are following me on Facebook too, because I like to talk to, in the newsletter I talk to you, but I like to hear back from you. So I'm on Instagram too, where I post pictures and things, and so I do comment also on there. But Facebook, my author page, is usually the page where, I'll just post something personal and we'll talk about it, or a picture or whatever. And so that's where I get to hear from you guys too. And I get to know you. There's a lot of people on there that, I see again and again. So I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, before we go, I have to ask, because I was worried that you might not be able to do the interview from your home, because the other day she posted a picture of what I can only describe as the biggest spider I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I told her, I said, I think you're going to have to give it the house. Like,
that's the only option really at that point. Yeah. He actually he was there for several days making the web bigger and bigger, and then we had a huge thunderstorm today, and it must have not. He was only under a little cover, and he must have not been covered enough because he was gone today. So he was kind of cute after I realized he wouldn't kill me. But at first it was a little like, oh, I had to ask, is this gonna kill me? And then when everybody said no, it's just an orb weaver or something, I was like, okay.
It was big. That's what I know.
It was big. It was big. Yeah, it was big.
Yes, 14
for sure. It's amazing when you're forced, what you can do. I mean, I used to, and writers who don't have a deadline are like, oh, when gee, I hope I feel like writing or whatever. And I used to do that too when I felt like it. I felt like the muse was going to hit me. And now I'm just like, muse, sit down. We got to write today. That's, there's nothing, you can't wait for anything. You just got to make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I enjoyed this so much. Thank you so much for coming on. I just love the series.
Thank you, Tiffany. I'm so excited you love it. And thank you so much for having me on. I was really excited to talk to you today. You have so much energy. Your channel's so fun. I watch it all the time. And so I just love being on here with you. It's a big thrill for me. So thank you.
Yeah, this was amazing. Everybody have a great night. Tomorrow's Friday. We made it.
Almost.
All right, everyone. So the book comes out the new one, Gone for Good, comes out this Tuesday. You can still pre-order.
Yes.
And then Curds and Prey is March, right?
Curds and Prey is March. Yes.
Okay. I'm on it.
Great. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Have a great night. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for coming.